When Tauriel vanished from Middle-earth, her story didn't end. It simply went untold. But in the shadows of exile, some say she carved out a fate more tragic and more human than any written in the Red Book. What happened to the elven warrior who loved a dwarf? Exile in silence. When the war ended, Tauriel was not welcomed home. Her defiance had cost her everything, her rank, her people, and the one she loved. Kili died in her arms, and her king's words were colder than steel. You traded immortality for dust. So she left. No farewell, no trace, just a broken elf wandering eastward, alone. With no ring of power, no ancient wisdom, and no prophecy to redeem her, she simply disappeared into the forgotten corners of Middle-earth. Her exile wasn't legendary, it was quiet, and that made it worse. But where silence reigns, sometimes something else begins to grow. The shady healer. Years passed, maybe decades, and in a quiet valley near the Blue Mountains, the wounded spoke of a nameless red-haired healer. She wore no sigil. She asked no questions. But she always helped. Locals called her the Shady One. No one knew her name or race. Some thought her a ghost, others a fallen elf seeking penance. But behind the mystery was Tauriel, still breathing, still hurting, trying to give life where she once saw only death. Her hands stopped shaking. Her pain, once a curse, became a purpose. But fate doesn't forget, especially not when it has one last blow to deliver. Oh, the son she never knew. One storm-drenched night, Gondorian riders bearing a wounded soldier came to her door. He was barely alive, young, dark-haired, half-conscious. But when Tauriel looked into his face, she forgot how to breathe. He looked elven, but wasn't. Human, but not quite. Around his neck, a weathered pendant, a relic she thought lost forever. The night came flooding back. The one night of love before everything was taken. And the secret she'd buried at the edge of Gondor, her child. She never told the boy. She couldn't. Instead, she healed him in silence and stayed by his side as a guide, a protector, and a stranger who watched every step he took like it could break her. Because the truth wasn't a gift, it was a wound waiting to reopen. Her final war. When evil returned in the east, it wasn't a great war like the Ring. It was quieter, darker. King Elisar called for aid, and a figure in black answered. Tauriel, older now, but not weaker. She had seen enough death to know when it was coming again. She asked not for pardon, but for purpose. Let her lead the lost, dwarf outcasts, runaways, misfits. They followed her not because of her title, but because she bled like them. And when the final battle came, Tauriel charged ahead, faster than fear, steadier than steel. A single arrow ended her story, but she died with her son beside her, his hand gripping hers, just as hers once clung to Kili's. And in that moment, her past and future finally met. The red-haired spirit. 100 years later, she's still spoken of. In Eriador's forests, children whisper tales of a red-haired lady who comes to the lost. Some say she's a spirit in the trees. Others swear they've seen her on the road at dusk, offering comfort to the dying. Her blade is said to hold a divided gem, one half on the hilt, the other at her heart. And when the wind moves through the leaves just right, some elves say they hear her voice, soft, sorrowful, unbroken. Not every hero ends with glory. Some become something gentler and far harder to forget. Tauriel was never canon. She was born from a script, framed by a love story, and lost in the edits. But maybe that's why her story feels real, because in the quiet pain of exile, the strength to heal, and the love too heavy to name, we see ourselves. If her story touched you, share it. Like and subscribe for more lost legends, forgotten heroes, and the echoes between fantasy and truth.